All right, so today we are diving headfirst into a world that's, well, it's pretty wild. It's a place where the line between what you think and what's real has totally vanished. And mastering your own mind, that's just the first step to mastering the entire universe.
Just think about that for a second. What if every single thought you had, every little idea, every fear, every wild hope just popped into existence right there in front of you? It sounds like absolute chaos, doesn't it? Well, for one amazing civilization we're about to explore, that's just business as usual. Okay, so let's get right into it. The civilization at the heart of all this is called the Knowledgeable House of the White Liger. And here's the thing. They didn't just accidentally find this power. No, they cultivated it. They took what should have been a total catastrophe and turned it into their single greatest strength.
So, this is the core mechanic of their whole society. It's this idea of thought manifestation. Basically, they figured out that the Earth itself, it's like a giant hard drive. It stores memories and information in its electromagnetic field. And once they learned how to sync up their own bioenergy with that planetary field, bam! They could literally pull their thoughts out of their heads and make them real.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because you see how their society had to evolve. At first, it was pure chaos, absolutely terrifying. They called it instant karma, because any negative thought, any passing fear would just manifest. You'd think a society like that would just implode, right? But instead it forced them to become compassionate. I mean, when your neighbor's angry thought could literally burn your house down, forgiveness stops being a nice idea and becomes a survival strategy. This intense pressure forced them to develop this incredible willpower, turning a wild, dangerous power into a super precise tool for creation. Okay, so this brings us to our protagonist, Mitsuki. She's inherited this incredible legacy, but the real source of all this power? It's locked away, hidden inside this mysterious artifact she carries with her. Now, at first glance, you might think it's just a pocket watch, but it's so much more than that. It's actually an entire dimension of space and time, all folded up. It's like this ultimate black box, just packed with potential, waiting for someone to find the right key. And here's where we get the first big twist. You see, the official story she was told about how to activate it, it was a lie, just a cover story. Unlocking her sigil, this symbol of her power, it had nothing to do with fighting bad guys. The real key was something way deeper. It was about achieving a total revolutionary understanding of the world's most basic building blocks, the elements themselves. So, how do you achieve an elemental revolution? Well, for Mitsuki, it means she first has to master something called the elemental skill tree. Inside that artifact of hers is a whole other dimension, and in it are 7 massive halls. Each one represents a core element of her world. To unlock the artifact's true power, she has to understand the core principle of every single one. For now, we're going to focus on just one of these halls, because it perfectly shows just how deep this system goes. Let's talk about the Hall of Earth, or Terra. The key to unlocking this one isn't about, just throwing rocks around. It's a much more profound metaphysical concept. It's all about understanding the two sides of Earth's nature. Its power to bind things together and create structure, and its power to loose things and tear them apart. And this breakdown really shows you what that means. On one hand, you have binding. That's all about creation and order. Building things, planting things, setting up the boundaries and rules that let civilizations thrive. But then you have the other side, losing. And that's the power of necessary change. It's about uprooting what's wrong, overthrowing imbalance, basically clearing out the old junk to make way for the new. So inside the Hall of Earth, Mitsuki gets to see this whole process play out, and it's described almost like this grand geological family drama. The Earth's core is the heart, and it radiates this electromagnetic energy described as a form of love that binds all the elements. But, like any family, there's conflict. This creates pressure, and that pressure refines and crystallizes the purest elements. The ones that don't make the cut get pushed to the surface. But here's the cool part. It's not a final judgment. It's a cycle. Those elements that flee eventually come back to the heart to be purified and try again. So Mitsuki goes through all 7 halls, masters all the principles, and right when she thinks she's finally figured out her artifact, she makes a discovery that flips everything on its head.
See, this whole time, she thought she was just learning how to use a tool, a really complex, really powerful piece of tech, maybe a weapon. But she was totally wrong. The truth was something way more profound. The power she was unlocking, it wasn't an it at all.
And here it is, the big reveal. The artifact's name, the internal titanium chronochrome, that was just a clunky, bad translation. It turns out the artifact is actually a living, thinking being, a living sigil, an embodiment of power itself, and its real name is Tempus Roma.
So, she wasn't Mitsuki's tool. She was her partner.
This revelation is a total game changer. The fact that she's bonded to a living entity, it cracks open the door to a whole new level of power. The journey is nowhere near over.
It turns out mastering the physical elements of the world was just the entry exam. It was only the prerequisite. To get to the next level, Mitsuki now has to understand the very structure of the cosmos and her own archetypal role within that massive system.
So she started here, right, with the elemental skill tree. These are the fundamental building blocks of the physical world, the forces that shape planets and spark life. And now she moves on to this, the celestial skill tree, and look at this progression. The whole system levels up, from raw physics to these cosmic archetypes. Power isn't just about moving stuff around anymore. It's defined by your function, your purpose, your role in this huge cosmic cycle that's even tied to the seasons. It's a huge shift from asking, what can you do, to who must you become? So think about it. We've seen that mastering just one element, like Earth, meant understanding these huge, profound ideas of order and chaos, of binding and loosing. So what kind of mental revolution, what incredible depth of self-awareness would it take to truly master a role as fundamental as healer or mage? I mean, that's the big question this whole system leaves us with, isn't it?